Hey guys, Miss Brooklyn here. Welcome back to my channel, Miss Brooklyn's Beauty-Corner. And in this video, I'm showing you how I made my first full lace frontal wig. It was very hard. I'm not gonna lie, I made a couple of mistakes on the way, but I'm gonna show you what I did in hopes that you don't make the same mistakes I did. Okay, let's get into the video. So here are all the items you're going to need. You're going to need a styrofoam wig head, and you're also going to need a wig cap. Here's the brand that I'm using. I normally like the Spanx Dome cap, but I'm using this one. And you're also going to need some T-pins. You're going to need clips to keep the hair out of the way, and you're going to need thread, lots of thread. You're also going to need seed needles for threading and weaving. Duh, we're making a wig. You're going to need some shears, and also going to need some tweezers. All right, let's start. So you want to start by laying your lace frontal down. You want to bring the frontal all the way over the head of the styrofoam. You want to make sure the lace is hanging all the way over, is what I mean to say. Then use your T-pins to secure the lace frontal down. You want to secure the entire perimeter so that it does not move while you're plucking. Next thing you want to do is take a picture of your exact hairline. If you want to customize your frontal to match your hairline, you're going to need it as a guide. That's what I'm using as my guide. I'm combing the hair out of the way so that I can begin precisely plucking the hair. Keep in mind, this is a tedious process. It took me 1 entire hour to pluck the frontal hair, and then afterwards I had to go in and continue to customize when I had the actual wig on my head so that it can resemble my natural hairline. Take your time and pluck away. Put on some of your favorite shows. I was watching How to Get Away with Murder in the background, and you're going to pluck. The objective here is to pluck the hair to match your hairline. So you want to make it as thin or as thick as your natural hairline is. Or you can give yourself an entire new hairline. This is your frontal. This is your playground. You create your masterpiece. I'm not actually creating the hairline as much as I'm thinning out the hairline right here. So right here I'm taking out random pieces, and each section is going to take you time. Like I said, this took an entire hour. So as you guys can see, I'm making parts to separate where the hairline begins and where the baby hair will begin. I'm making that separation so that I can go in and further pluck the entire hairline. I'm going to pluck to my heart's desire. Now we're continuing on. I'm doing the same exact thing. I'm going to begin by thinning out the hairline first, and then I'm going to make a part and define the parts, separating the hairline from the baby hairs and continually plucking to create my hairline shape. I can't stress that enough. As you can see, I'm plucking downward and in between because I want it very thin and natural. I want it very gradient. Going back towards the side where it would be the side of my hairline, I'm going back and I'm deciding that I want to pluck furthermore and define furthermore. So that's what I'm doing here. As you can see, I'm moving further along the hairline and making my way around the perimeter of the hair, and I'm doing the same thing. Again, this is extremely tedious. Like I said, if you want to mimic your hairline or whatever hairline you admire, you're going to have to take time and do the work. I keep pushing the hair back and looking at it from a distance, and then making a defined part to continue to separate the two where the two begins and the two end. I definitely want to make it a statement that one is baby hairs that I'm working on, and the other is the actual hairline. Right now, all I'm doing is running the clip to it to see how realistic the scalp will look when I make parts in it, and seeing if the density is just right for me. And I see that I need to go ahead and continue plucking, so that's what I'm going to do. As you can see, there's a major difference from this side and the other side. It's starting to look a lot more realistic, so I'm just going to keep going in and defining. And this is very, very tedious, so we're just going to skip right through all of this. So this section is pretty much to my liking. Now I'm going to go ahead and make a very, very thin part using the tip of the tweezer, and I'm going to go ahead and work on the edges. That is more tedious work, but I'm going to pluck it very thin so that when it's time for me to cut and make edges, it will be seamless and easy. So now I'm making a small part and I'm continuing to define the hairline, making it replicate mine as close as possible. As you guys can see, it is looking a lot more and more like scalp. I'm really going in and I'm defining and plucking and making it look as realistic as possible. I just wanted to show you I'm halfway through and look how much hair already. And I'm still going strong. This is only 30 minutes in. So I've decided my frontal is good enough for now. I went ahead and secured my lace cap onto my styrofoam wig head and made sure I T-pinned it down very nice and taut. You don't want it loose, you want it taut. I then went ahead and make markings as to where my ears would be on each side. That's the white lines that you see there, as well as where my forehead would begin on the lace wig. I then made the same indentations on the frontal. As you guys can see on the lace, there's white markings as well. That's just to let me know where to lay my lace frontal down on the mannequin head. A little tip I want to give you is to braid the hair on your lace frontal down and hold your lace frontal from ear to ear lengthwise, and then you want to fold it directly down the center in half. That way you know where the center will be, where to line it up on your Spanx stone cap or your wig cap, just like so. Now you're going to see that it matches my center perfectly. Hold the lace taut and take your T-pin and go ahead and start securing the frontal down. Remember, you want to secure the entire perimeter down, center, and the sides. Use as many T-pins as it takes to lay it so that there isn't any gap or spacing. That's very important. Now we will begin sewing. You want to make sure you sew down the flaps of each side first. You want to do the left, then the right, or the right, then the left, whatever is your preference. You want to go ahead and make sure you sew it down taut before you continue on doing the remainder perimeter and crown of the frontal. It's very important you sew down the sides first. You're going to secure the flat down on each side, cut the thread, and then begin doing the crown perimeter. As usual, I'm doing the loop and pull method. If you guys want a more detailed tutorial on how I do the loop and pull method, I'm going to go ahead and link another tutorial that I did on my channel in the description box, and it'll fly across the screen in the card. So now that I've finished securing both sides down, I'm now doing the entire perimeter of the frontal, making sure that I secure it nice and taut. I can't stress that enough. And again, you want it completely flat. You don't want any space or gap between the frontal and your lace wig cap. So now we're just going to go ahead and make our wig. Because I already have a full detailed wig tutorial on my channel and the process is still the same, I'm going to skip past this. But however, I do want to give you some tips. Because I'm working with the full frontal, I'm going to go ahead and double 3 of my bundles so that it can fit on my unit. Now this will change depending on your head size. As you can see, I'm taking my first bundle, which is 24 inches, and I'm doubling the wefts. This is the only time you will see me penetrate the actual weft, in opposed to doing the loop and pull method. I'm going to start by penetrating the wefts and starting to sew the 2 bundles down together, so when I attach it to the lace, they do not separate. After the first initial contact between the lace and the wefting, and I make a knot and secure it, I'm going to then proceed on with the loop and pull method, going around the wefts and not sewing through the wefts. Again, I only sew through the wefts at every beginning and every ending of a row. That's the only time I penetrate through the wefts. Other than that, I sew around the wefts because it helps minimize shedding and it's very secure. So all you're going to do is continue on with the fold over method, making sure when you begin it at the corner, you sew through the weft and lock it down. Once you lock it down, you'll begin sewing around the weft, doing the loop and pull method and securing a knot every few loops so that your unit is long lasting. All you're going to do is continue to go back and forth, filling up your entire unit. So I've managed to get 2 bundles onto my unit, and now I just have this big open gap. I'm going to go ahead and begin filling it. So now I'm going to start doing single rows with the remainder 2 bundles I have left, taking it all the way to the top. There's no secret to this. There's no science. You're just going to go back and forth, filling that entire gap, taking it all the way to the top, continuing the fold over method and looping and pulling your unit. So now we're at the top. At this point, you can cut the wefts and not continue the fold over method, but I've gotten good at making my fold over extremely flat. So I continued it all the way until this tiny, tiny little space. At that point, I then cut the wefts, and all you want to do is continue going around and just closing it up. So now that it's done, we're going to cut the remaining track, and we're going to go ahead and cover up the last track with the hair. And I'm using water to go ahead and set the hair down so that it is all uniform and you don't see any tracks or anything. Now we are all done. This is what your wig should look like. Now what we're going to do is cut the excess net around the lace, making sure not to cut too close to the thread that's holding it together. So now we're just going to go ahead and lay our lace unit down on our head, and we're going to go ahead and begin cutting our lace off. Now, I made the mistake of cutting too much lace off of my unit. You want to make sure that you leave enough lace that it comes over your forehead. And again, my lace was darker than my skin, so I should have let it process a little longer. You live and you learn. This. Like I said, this is my first one, and I learned a lot along the way. And now that I know better, the next one I will do better. As you guys can see, I'm cutting a little bit too much lace off of the unit. I should have left a lot more lace onto that so I have more playroom in order to secure it down and it look natural. I think that's where I made my mistake. So I'm telling you this now, so when you do yours, you leave a little bit more lace. In the front, it was perfect, but on the sides, I needed more lace because my hairline comes down low. I have a very low hairline, and I should have took that into account. So like I said, you just want to measure and you want to keep playing with it. Now I'm making parts so that I can define the hairline from the baby hair, and I see that I have too much hair. It's still too thick in density, so I spent another hour plucking hair and making sure that the hairline was perfect. I went and omit that part out because you guys now have the gist of it, but I'm showing you how it should look. It needs to be realistic. Again, my lace is darker than my scalp. I'm gonna go ahead and fix that with a little bit of my tinted moisturizer. That's my skin tone. It's no big deal, but I'm gonna go ahead and pluck the hairline and start making it thinner before I even cut the hair to simulate baby hairs. So at this point, I'm just showing you what I would use to secure it down. I would be using the got to be glued method with the freeze method. And I didn't show it on this video because I didn't secure the unit down just yet because I was continuously still plucking. But I'm just showing you how it's secure down. There's tons of videos on YouTube, so you can go ahead and check it out. I think Mingli from Snob Hair is the one that made this technique popular. She's the one that first showed this technique, and everybody started doing and creating videos how to do it. And yeah, I'm just showing you that, and it should look like this. By the time I was done plucking, playing, and doing everything, my unit now looked like this. I really hope you guys found this video informative. I hope you like it. If you did, please do me a favor and thumbs it up. I will be sure to film my next frontal unit that I make because I'm telling you it's going to be 10 times better than this one, but I just wanted to show you this one and give the tips and tricks that I learned along the way. Go ahead and follow me on my social media networks. Names are somewhere on the screen. Links are down below in the description box. Don't forget to like. I love you guys, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.